All right, we're back. My name is Rebecca Thompson Hitt. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I am here with Sarah Bingham.
Sarah Bingham, nutritionist out of Tampa. Fast food healing is what I teach you. But we're going to start with Rebecca. This is part 3 of our series, and it has to do with the Chinese symbol for crisis, which is the combination of danger, a symbol that means danger, and the symbol that means opportunity. So yeah, there's some danger, but out of all danger comes opportunity. So that's what we're going to be focusing on right now. So Rebecca, take it away.
All right. So, this is an opportunity for many families, and they don't always like to hear that word because right now it doesn't feel like an opportunity. It feels like, what have you done to my life? I had everything kind of working and figured out, but here we are. So take a nice deep breath. This is an opportunity for you to find unique solutions, and there may be things that even work better for you than the way that it was working before. This is an opportunity to rethink and really decide what's most important to you. And was your previous life the one that, was like, 2-3 weeks ago, in your previous existence? Were there things that were really good and really working and you really, really loved? And then were there things that weren't? And now that we're in this new reality, what is it that you're needing? And really starting with that question, what is it that I need? Okay, I need to be able to work. All of a sudden, I'm working from home. I need to now school my children at home. They were in school, and so this is very stressful. Now, I still have to come up with meals. I have to, according to some sources, some people I'm talking to are like, well, now I got to wash my groceries when I bring them in. I have to wipe down all the packaging. I have to clean all the produce. I was talking to a woman in India this morning, and she was talking about that. And, there are some places where if there are a bunch of people touching all your stuff, it might not be a bad idea. But now we're having to think about all these things. All right, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And so the opportunity is to really start expanding our awareness and our consciousness and say, okay, so what do I need? And what are all the ways that I can do it? How can I capitalize on the fact that other families are in this same position? How can we work together, even though we're physically distancing? How can we work together to make this work? And I've heard of so many really cool solutions. I've got bunch of families who have decided they're doing an online co-op school. So they're homeschooling. I've had some families who have taken their kids out of school because the way that their school system is handling the educational process and the stress that it's putting on the kids is not working. And it's easier because schooling at home, trying to follow a rigid guideline from the outside, is different than homeschooling, where
Yeah,
you get to pick.
because you and I, Rebecca, have homeschooled, and you and I know, especially at the elementary level, which is just insane what parents of elementary children are being asked to do right now, especially if you're trying to work. You and I both know that in 2 to 3 hours in a day, you can accomplish the goals that are needed. And so if you decide to just withdraw your child from school and say, I'm going to homeschool for the rest of the year, um, give me the goals. Where do I have to have them by the end of the year? I promise you, especially at the elementary school level, this is not rocket science. This can happen very quickly and in the style that your child likes. Like,
It works for them and works for you.
I did history with my daughter through costumes. She's very, she's very aesthetically and fashion oriented, and so, we looked at all the costumes of the era that we were supposed to study, and she totally retained it because it fascinated her. So, there's all these ways that can be so much more joyous than having to sit and go through make work stuff with an elementary level child. And once they're in junior and senior high, they can handle this stuff and do it on their own, and you're not as needed. So we just, yeah, we were talking about that, and it's like, okay, you do not
Yeah.
stress. It is much less stress to just say, oh, okay, I'll make it to the end on my own.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's what I heard one of the moms was saying, we were doing it. We were having fun. We were doing projects. It was working. We'd figured out our rhythm. And then the school has now come in and say, well, now your day has to look like this. And that one more additional outside stress was just like too much.
Too much.
And this was a first grader. And
Yeah.
the list of like things that this mom was supposed to do with this child while she's trying to work a full-time job was just unattainable.
And this is exactly what you're saying. The opportunity is to get real and to let your boss know, let school know, whatever the choices are. When, Rebecca started by, what is it that I need? Okay. Now, for some, it's they got to tell work. For others, they got to tell school. Whatever it is, it's like, hello, guys, I'm just one person.
That's
And
right.
all I can handle.
Right.
And
And everybody's doing the best they can. The school systems are doing the best they can. They don't know how this is going to impact families. Your work doesn't know how this is going to impact your ability to work when you've got 3 small kids at home. And your husband is now, out of the house working because he's a healthcare worker, whatever the situation is in your family.
and both systems, school and work, are stressed up the yazoo themselves.
That's right.
Stressed out. They don't know what they're doing either. So,
We're
hello.
all making it up as we go.
So you don't have to be perfect in following anything. It's a matter of, okay, what do we need now? What?
Right. And what choices do we have? Because so many people feel like they don't have choices right now. And now it's a really, really important time to say, what choices do I have?
You
What
all
can I let go of?
right.
What can I do differently so that it will feel better for me and my family? That is a vital, vital question to be asking right now.
Very empowering.
Yes,
During these times we feel like, we're victims. It's like, no, you're not a victim. You have been put in a situation that actually has opportunities. So you can be looking at, what are my choices? What do I want to do? What do I need? You've got to first ask yourself. So many of us forget to even ask the question, what is it that I need?
that's
When I
right.
was homeschooling my daughter, I was running a business, and my business involved being at meetings like almost every night. And it was like, well, I don't, and I had to be on the road a lot. I had to be gone. And it was like, well, wait, okay, what do I need? Well, I want to, I was a single mother at the time. I want to raise my daughter. I want to homeschool her, but I also need to meet at the meetings. What do I need? I need a house on wheels. I went, oh, that's an RV. So, and I realized that you can buy a used RV for the same price as a car. So I swapped my car for an RV. I learned a lot about RVs, but hey, I was able to get in that old RV, travel wherever the heck I wanted to. Best part was being able to pee on the highway without having to stop. No, I did stop, but bathroom with you at any rate.
Yes.
um, but yeah, so I had my house on wheels, and my daughter could walk. I had 2 golden retrievers. She could walk the dogs while I was in a meeting, and then put herself back in and cook dinner and go to sleep if needed, and on and on. So it's a matter of learning how to ask yourself, what is it that I need? Because you can solve those problems.
Absolutely. And I've heard some really creative things right now where families are sharing cooking meals. And as long as it's heated, we understand the COVID virus doesn't like heat. So, like families are cooking a big vat of soup and then leaving it on the porch. And then, they're taking turns cooking. There are families that are having virtual play dates. So I heard about this one family where they weren't sure how it was going to go. I think the kids were like 5 and, is this really going to work? And the kids were occupied for like 2 hours and they were playing each in their own spaces. Nobody took anybody's toys away. I mean, it was really ideal. And so, the parents were both able to get some things done that they needed to be able to get done. And so it's that creative, how can we approach this from that basis of what we need? Now, what is possible? And talking to other parents and brainstorming these things. And the creativity that I'm seeing is phenomenal.
That's
and some of these things I think are going to stick long after, the quarantine or the lockdown is over.
right.
But I also hear a lot of parents are bringing their kids into the kitchen and, having them be part of that process when maybe they hadn't been before because, well, now, we're not going out to eat. We're not doing those things that we did before. And for some families, there's more time. Things have slowed down. They're not doing activities. Even homeschool families are like, wow, we're together a lot. We're home, we're just home. And, so there's more space. Others, there's more compressed time. But I think that makes it even more important to bring your kids in and have them be a part of that together. So I'm going to hand it to you because that brings us to the kitchen.
Yes, that brings us to compressed time. It's like, oh dear God, how am I going to get all this done? And so that's what I've lived with the entire time I was raising my family. It was like, yeah, there's way too much. But I developed what I call the drive-through kitchen. What the first thing I want you to do is focus on dinner. All right. If you get dinner handled, and if you just sit down on Sunday night and decide what 5, 6 dinners you're going to make during the week, that makes your life. I can't tell you how much more sane it makes your life. And whatever you're cooking for dinner, you make 2 to 3 times what you need. So that leftover dinner is lunch. And the kids can prepare their own lunch salad however they want. But basically, if you have meat, veggies, rice or a potato or something like that in a salad, I would then at the end of dinner take a big old like 4-cup bowl and put the salad in it, put the meat and the veggies and rice if you're doing grain, whatever. And then I'd put some oil and vinegar on it, tap it on, put the lid on, throw it in the fridge. But then in the morning, when it was time for breakfast, I'd take my bowl out, put it in the cupboard where it slowly warms up. I'm putting it in the cupboard because it's a glass bowl and I don't want light to get at my food because that breaks down nutrients. So I put it in the cupboard and just let it warm up. So by the time noon comes around and it's lunchtime, all I have to do is pull my bowl out. No cooking, low maintenance, and it's delicious. It's like, think of a 3-bean salad or, the kind of mixed greens and, chicken or fish or whatever you want, type of salad. That's really what it is. And it's absolutely delicious. And I've just doubled, tripled, the amount of vegetables that I'm getting into my life. Now your children can take leftover dinner and create whatever lunch they want out of leftover dinner. And they can pack their own lunch and they can be very little. And I've got, in fact, I'll make a note here to put in my resources section, the school lunch ideas. But what it is it's a chart that you can put on your refrigerator that has the children pick, okay, what's going to be your protein, what's going to be your starch, what's going to be your veggies in your lunch. And that's a great education for them to begin to understand, okay, what makes a good school lunch. So hopefully someday they'll go back to school and they will be so good at packing their own lunch.
Yes, this is practice. That's another opportunity, Sarah.
Crock-pot baking. This is the other thing. What I tell parents is when you're at night, when you're brushing your teeth before you go to bed, you've got to be thinking, what is happening with food tomorrow? What's for dinner? All right. So if you're going to have rice and beans and maybe a big old winter squash along with it or something like that. Well, before you go to bed, you got to get the rice. I've got 3 crock pots going in my house at all times. And so I'll put the rice in one crock pot, the beans in another crock pot to soak overnight because that's what we know creates a much better product. And there's a lot more to that, but my recipes will be on my resources site. At any rate, so I get those all soaking, and then in the morning, I pour out the water, refill them, and turn them on low, turn the rice on low, turn the beans on high because the beans have to boil all day. But basically 8 hours later, I come back and dinner's pretty much ready. Now, back it up. I forgot to tell you about the squash. So if you have one of those big crock pots that will hold an entire butternut squash or a big old winter squash of some sort, you just take that squash and put it dry in the crock pot. Yeah, you've rinsed it off so there's no mud. But anyway, put it dry in the crock pot, put the lid on, and turn it on low for 8 hours. So you do that first thing in the morning. By the time it's dinner time, you have baked squash. Oh my God. And you haven't had to take knives and risk your fingers. And oh man, those big old squashes are nasty. And
They are.
such a delight to lift out of the crock pot, and you can cut it with a butter knife. I just cut down the neck of the butternut squash, and there's these beautiful little rounds. I just put them on the plate. They're pretty.
Mhm.
Depending on how thickness of the skin, it's organic, so you can eat the skin. If it's thin, sometimes it gets thick, so then you scrape it out of the skin. But hey, so if you look at what I just did, and if you don't have rice and beans going, you can have a meat dish going all day long. So basically, it's dinner time. You go to the freezer, get out some frozen organic veggies. That's fast. Um, and you get your instant salad out. Now, your instant salad is just a bucket of baby greens that you've gotten at the local, organic greens at your local grocery store. And then you take your hard vegetables in another bowl. You fill the bowl with carrots and celery and radishes and any other hard vegetable that you like in a salad, okay, that won't get slimy if it's marinated for a long time. You fill that small bowl with them, or a larger bowl, whatever. Put an oil and vinegar dressing on that you like, okay, and really cover it with the oil and vinegar dressing, so that basically it's marinating those vegetables. So you you keep that in the fridge, and when it's time for your salad, now you've just walked into your kitchen, you have meat or rice and beans ready, you've got winter squash ready in the crock pots, and now you pull out those two, the bucket of greens and your bowl of salad veggies, and you take a slatted spoon, and after you put a handful of lettuce on your plate, whatever, you take a slatted spoon and put your veggies on there. Now it's already dressed, done, okay? And all you've had to do really is open up a bag or two of frozen vegetables and heat them up. So that is your every night 10-minute dinner. And more than anything, it always takes planning, and you know that. If you're working a job, if you do anything, you've got a plan. And so just doing that planning, and you can have your children, help with that. And then cooperative cooking. I did a lot of cooperative cooking when I was a single mother. In fact, I would have. Now, it's when you can have people over, but there's no reason why you can't do that. Do this. You just can't go to each other's homes. Um, on Monday night, I would cook for 3 other families. So I had 4 nights where basically, the meal was taken care of. The first night, I'm cooking a ton of food, but it's way more fun to cook a whole lot anyhow. And then Tuesday night, I'd go to person B's house, and we'd all eat together, and the kids would play in the whole bit. And Wednesday night and Thursday night, house D and C. So you can do the same thing by dropping food off, packaging it up for people to come by, pick it up, things like that. And there is this incredible, wonderful course online, Your Children, and the price right now is like ridiculous. It's free for 2 weeks. This is a beautiful course online, and again, you can find it in my resources section, where it teaches children how to cook whole foods, and from ages 2 and up, believe it or not.
That's so awesome.
It is. And I've met many parents that need to learn how to cook because they grew up with a microwave. They didn't know how to cook real food. So you can learn with your kids. And this woman is just magical. And what a great way to make use of this time to make one of your homeschooling courses. This is science, learning how to cook for yourself. Not only is it science, it gives children tremendous self-esteem. My daughter could cook an entire meal by the time she was 10, and and that's just a great feeling of accomplishment and independence for children. Not to mention, when things get back to normal, can you imagine coming home from work and having your 13-year-old having made dinner for the family, and the 5-year-old has set the table and chopped up the carrots and whatever? Okay, this is all possible. So these are the opportunities that we can learn. And I will have all of this stuff for you to help you, get a leg up on my website, which is fastfoodhealing.com. and enter into the PhD club. And that will take you to my resources page where all these goodies are. But Rebecca and I want to wish you all well. We'll get through this. And yeah, it's not easy. And we can all, I think, beating up a pillow is probably a really healthy thing to do at times. And you can teach,
Absolutely.
pillows are great. So
Do it
yeah,
as a family.
family, you can each take the pillow off your bed, and bring it in and slam it on the couch, and have a great time with, this sucks and none of us like it, and we're going to get through it.
That's right. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Yep. And you can find resources at my website too, consciouslyparenting.com. And I've got membership and lots of resources there and lots of free resources in my learning center. So
Great books. Don't miss Rebecca's books. They're fabulous.
yes, thank you. So Consciously Parenting, What It Really Takes to Raise Emotionally Healthy Families. And then I've got 2 more, and I have a 4th one that may be coming out this year.
Yes. All right, y'all. Be well. Stay well.
Thank you. Take care.